Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amazing Scale Modelers Sunday Hangout. I am your host, Scratch and Jack. Amazing Scale Modelers is a Google Plus and Facebook community of scale modelers reaching across all scale modeling genres, mediums, and to encourage friendships from around the world. And today, we hope you will find it to be an important source of information about the hobby, hear about something new, and see firsthand the scale modeling experience. Joining me today are the usual suspects in time and doing these things. And if you want to join us, the live chat is open. If you don't have a camera or mic, the live chat is open. So that's if you're watching this, obviously you know where the live chat is. So bring your questions, comments, all are welcome today. And don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, and suggest as to what we're doing here. And I'll try to relay these things as we go along. Right now, we do have the community builds. I figured we get this started in the beginning, so everybody has all year to do them. And every show, we're going to be talking about them and at least mentioning them. That's between Across the Pond and the Sunday Hangout. And that's the Nautical Navy build, and there's the Real Space build, and a wood model build. And today we're going to speak a little more about wood modeling. After all, that is where you all got started, or at least your grandfathers got started in modeling before plastic was invented. So it was wood, usually basswood, balsa wood. You know the meaning. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the proper tools to have on hand, some optional tools that you might want to consider using, as well as what kind of kits are we getting into? What is the level of sophistication? Is it going to be difficult? And those sorts of things. And without further ado, I'd like to just go across our visitors, our usual suspects, and see what they're up to on their workbench. And I'll be popping over to the live chat and saying hello to everyone. So first, how you doing there, Jim?
I'm doing fine there, Jack.
You seem like you're a little zoomed in. You seem bigger than life, bigger than usual. I don't know.
Bigger than usual? We're probably a little more zoomed. Yeah.
It's a little zoomed in.
It's just
we can see your pores now.
On the modeling front, I haven't got a lot done because I'm waiting for parts to come in on a slow boat from China. So
is it on a slow boat?
Yeah. So I may have to start something in between to get some modeling done before I get back to my Arcadia project. So on the modeling front, that's where I am right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of a slow week.
Arcadia. So you're I'm sorry. You were waiting for some of the Arduino boards.
I've got Arduino. Yeah, I've got fiber optic and our Arduino Nano to come in.
All right, very cool. All right, and here's somebody we haven't seen for a while. I think I haven't seen for a while. I'm glad he's doing well. How you doing there, Jay?
Hi. I'm doing great. I've been working for a couple of weeks here on the Discovery. I got the spine and the antenna section completely finished. Right now I'm working on the control dome section, whatever you want to call it. I got the cockpit section finished. I'm gonna have to adjust my camera here because it won't focus properly. I have to kind of.
It looks good though.
I have to auto here. Come on, come back for me, so that you can see the inside. This is the inside, and it looks like crap right now. Come on.
Thanks for the prelude there. We'll decide if it's crap.
Hold on just a second here. Trying to get it into a section here where I can see it. There we go. It's a little bit better. But the outside of it looks like crap. But if I give it some power, and yes, you can run 12 volt LED strips off of a 9-volt battery.
Ah.
If you look on the inside.
Ooh.
Come on now. Come on. And I'll turn it this way so it'll be right side up, but come on down. There we go. There we go.
That looks cool.
Bring it over here. You can see the hallway in the back there, and there's controls are lit up on the sides of the. Come on.
No, I can see it. I can make it out just there, right on the edge of the screen there. Yeah, I got controls there. Yes.
Controls are lit up on the inside.
Yeah.
All the way around. And way in the back there's you can't really see it right now, but way in the back, up on the wall, there is a little HAL 9000 eye that is lit red. So, but these it's the paragraphic set, and for the most part it's okay. I really hated the seats. I mean, the seats that they give you are these little metal things that just look like absolute crap. So I scratch built some out of plastic that even have the little ridges in them and such. This is the top, holding it upside down right now, but this is the ceiling of the pod bay. That's the
Hangar
ceiling
bay.
of the pod. It'll the pod bay, the hangar bay. It'll look like this. I added, it came with the air conditioners. I added these three things because they are there. They're supposed to be there and they're not. And I added this tubing, which is also not here, but it's supposed to be. And right now down here, I'll turn the autofocus back on so that it sharpens up.
You know, Jay, you got to pay more closer attention to detail. You know that.
I know. I'm having a problem there, but I'm putting on micromask. I painted this white, and then this is actually the floor of the hangar bay, and the pods sit in here, and they will come out. Got the rest of the parts down here. Got the door on the side of the that's a replacement door for the hangar. You cannot the Discovery top deck comes with the interior of the airlock that Bowman went flying into. But if you want to put in the hangar bay as well, you cannot put in the airlock because they won't fit. It's TARDIS technology. They won't fit with each other. But I've got one of the middle pod bay is going to be open, and the other two will be closed up with these. But the middle pod bay will be open. It'll be extended, and I'll have this little pod lit up.
Oh, really?
On there.
Oh, wow.
So I'm also working on getting the engines done. They require some photo etch put in them as well. And so that's other than building the spine, which I'm not kidding, there are over 400 pieces
just in for the spine.
In just the spine section of the Discovery.
No kidding.
There are well over 400 pieces.
No.
So, and this unit right here, I've been meaning to show this for a while. This is something I saw a tattoo artist using. They put tattoo ink in these, and I found one online pretty cheap, as well as several hundred of these different little dishes. And boy, does this little sucker come in handy for holding small amounts of like glue or whatever. And the cool thing is, if you have, let's see if I got another, well, I could use one of these. If you have glue, let's say I put some liquid cement in here and I use some of it and I don't use all of it, I can take another one and shove it up and it acts like a cork. It completely seals it.
Oh.
So. I think I paid maybe $6 for the aluminum thing there, and I think maybe 10 for 500 of the little dishes.
Oh wow!
I'll have enough for a while.
Yeah, that could come in handy for what we're going to talk about tonight. Isn't that right, Jim? That could be.
Uh-oh.
It could be. It could be handy for some when you're doing a lot of the fine detail work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm done.
Oh, you're done? Oh, okay. How you doing there,
done.
Heath?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Jack. How are you?
Is it warm today?
Cloudy. Not that warm today. It's a bit cloudy today. We might have a rain. Touch wood.
No, I live vicariously through you during the wintertime because you're having your summer right now. So.
Don't worry, Jack. It's only a couple more months until you get yours. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're halfway through the winter season, and today it was wet, dreary, rain, snow, you name it. It was nice.
We got it all today. Yeah,
we got everything.
We got 6 inches of snow today, so.
Oh yeah, nice. Anyhow, what's on your workbench there, Mister?
No, I haven't done much. I haven't done much since Saturday night. So I might be doing some more. I'll be doing some more work tonight because when it's summertime, I like to do model work during the night. So because when it's cooler, so I don't have to go outside and burn my little Bernie skinny guinea off. But I still haven't done much from Saturday, so I'm just here to join in and to just put my input in.
Oh, okay, very cool, very cool. You know, George has joined us on the live chat. Missed him yesterday. He said he was at work yesterday, and he couldn't make it. And he said to you, Jay, looking very good. So I agree that what you showed us with the command deck, the bridge, the cockpit, however you want to describe it, looks very good. Very good.
I'll take some pictures. I'll take some pictures with my DSLR and post them on the channel so that you have some posts from me, but so you can see things better. Because with this camera I've got, it's a little hard to see.
Yeah.
But it's
well, I mean, it overexposes. I'm going to be showing showing something that's going to be overexposed too, but I got the effect that I wanted. But moving on, another gentleman I haven't seen in a bit. Looks like he's doing. I think this is the first time I'm seeing him in a new year.
Yes, Mr. McCash.
What? Oh.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, we spent a little bit of time this afternoon on a private hangout. You were showing me about your Yamato.
Yeah, I've what's the word? Resurrected this Yamato diorama that I started like 2 years ago, and I'm trying to build the hangar bay that's on the bottom of the ship in 1/72 scale. This is as far as I have gotten.
Oh, good golly, look at that.
Yeah.
So this is the outside of the ship with the roll-up doors. And then you'll have I have a 172 Cosmo. Oh, hey, wires. Thanks for falling off. It's Cosmo Zero that I completely obliterated and darn near smashed with a hammer. I was so mad. But I've got it back together, and I've purposely left it battle scarred. So it's going to be returning to the hangar bay for repairs is what the diorama is going to be doing.
Nice.
And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, it was short and sweet. You know, we've got another two hours to go.
Yeah.
very, very short and sweet, you all. He's still milking the Chevelle. That would be George. George is saying no energy lately. You know, I know what you feel. I know the feeling, George. But I got a little spurt of energy for having had none in the past several weeks. So I get what you're saying. So how you doing there, Randall?
Not too bad, Jack.
Oh, look at you. You're looking like Tony's logo. What do you call it? His emoji or whatever it is. icon.
Avatar.
But you don't have the sneer. You have the smile, but he has the sneer.
Oh,
Yeah, it's your turn. Speak.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
You.
Oh.
Yeah, speak, Tommy. Speak.
Ah, right. Okay. What'll I talk about?
Well, what do you have on your bag? Well, have you been working on anything since yesterday?
No, still just on the
Yes.
Your mini
Hey, Tony,
Falcon.
check this
Mini
out.
Falcon. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
what's that?
Yeah, he's got the fiber optics for the small Falcon.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What?
Madman.
No, not bad. Oh, hang on. Oh, damn. Just dropped an LED. Nobody move. Thankfully, I got a whole bag of them here. Yay!
Yay!
So you
Anyway,
ran
the pie singing, Jack.
a fiber to each nozzle?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was sort of like a copy of Jack's idea, only with fiber optic and a single LED. And
And a quarter of the size.
a quarter of the size. Well, actually, a lot less. It's 350 scale, whereas Jack's is 72 scale. So you do the math for that. I don't know.
Let's put it this way. He's going to have like a 0.02 at best for forward voltage. I've got over an amp.
Nothing like this, though. Nothing like this, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I will be lighting this too.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I will be. I've got this lovely little book here that everybody knows and that everybody
Oh,
knows.
nice.
Look at that.
There it goes. Look at that, Tony.
Oh,
They all
wow.
work too. Isn't that wild?
If I had a head, I'd take it off to you.
That looks good there.
Well, you ought to kind of, well, yours is going to be easy to put together. I just put my size together on my Falcon, and I was looking. Well, this is just before airtime that I put the two sides together, and I'm looking for the screws. I mean, because you don't glue the 72 scale together, the two halves together. You screw them together. They're held together by 7 these tiny little screws, and I can't seem to find them. But then again, I haven't been working on this diligently. I mean, I'm at the stage right now I thought I'd be for the 48-hour hangout, which was right after Thanksgiving. But boy, that's over 2 months ago. So I'm 2 months behind. Yeah, look at that, Tony.
Thankfully, everything will fit inside once you trim the fibers and mount the LED.
Gee whiz.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's the theory, anyway.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
You know what you can do with this, don't you? You can take this little Falcon. You can take this little Falcon and put it on the back of a Star Destroyer like it is on Empire Strikes Back, if you really wanted to.
It would need a really, really big Star Destroyer, even for that scale.
Yeah.
Or what you do is you just the bridge section of it, and so I just put it there.
That's kind of what I had been working on before last year was with 144 fine molds Phantom. Yeah, Phantom. Talking about Falcon. It's the middle of the night here. Forgive me. I had been working on the fine molds 144 Falcon, and I had planned to mount it on a picture frame that would have been, like detailed as like the back of the Star Destroyer bridge module. That was the theory, anyway. And nice thing about it, the Falcon was supposed to be powered down, so that meant no lights. Yay! But I got bogged down with having to scratch build the cockpit because whatever way Fine Molds made the cockpit in that thing, there's no way any human being would ever fit inside it. Even 144 scale. I'll have to scratch build the cockpit and fit tiny like N gauge or Z gauge railway figures. They're like I think I have some here. They're nearly 200 scale. At least the Z gauge are, aren't they? They are, yeah.
Ah, yes.
Oh, bloody hell!
I sure hope you have hardwood floors. With hardwood floors, you'd probably have the carpet monster.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I got this room built, I thought I was being clever and getting a dark carpet put down, so that because most of the stuff we work with is kind of light gray, and of course the first thing I drop on it was black. Still haven't found it.
Well, that sort of thing is what makes your vacuum cleaner rattle, and you can't figure out as to why.
That's why you don't come into this room with a vacuum cleaner unless the end of it's covered in like a stocking or something like that.
That's how you do it.
So who's waving the Orion about there?
Oh, I actually have been working on something else. This is the out-of-box build of the Orion. The only difference is that I do have the Pan Am stickers or decals for it, but I am building this one out of the box. I have another one that I want to put the photo etch in and light it and everything. And the photo etch has something like 50 little teeny chairs that you've got to build and put in there. So,
oh, good job.
Does it come with one tiny Haywood Floyd? And
it does actually come with a little tiny Haywood Floyd and a little tiny stewardess and a couple of pilots.
Cool.
And it even tells the instructions of the photo etch if you want to be screen accurate, where to put Haywood Floyd, what seat he would be in. I wanted to build one out of the box. One of the nice thing is they do give you Aztecing decals with this. Mobius gives you Aztecing decals for it, so you can do so you just have to paint it white and then you lay the decals on and you've got all your different grades and such.
I suppose it was licensing that stopped them from getting the Pan Am decals.
They haven't released the Pan Am things with this kit since the Airfix release, and oh boy, it's been forever. But the decals were cheap. They were like $3 for a set of them, and they've got the correct typeface and the correct logo on it. And figured it's easier than making my own, so I bought a couple of those. That'll be the only modification on this model from out of the box. The other one will be full tilt. I kind of wanted to build a standard build and then a deluxe build of the same kit so that people could see what the difference is, so that when they say things like, why should it cost so damn much, you can show them.
Yeah.
Well, would that be it there, Mr. Randall?
That's me for now. Yep.
Oh, that's you for now. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna move my.
I did finish the. Of course, I did finish the my first entry for the real space group build, but It's sitting over there somewhere. Nearly too scared to move it.
Well, looky what I have going on here. Oh, this is really popping up, isn't it? Really popping up over here. Why? I just got to finagle this closed. I thought it was already closed. I didn't know there were pins, locator pins on this thing. Apparently, oh, there we go. Got to do that before you start sending screws through, because there is a screw hole here, one here, one here. There's two and another two on the mandible. And it doesn't want to really stay together, but once the screws are in, I think that this will be held together quite nicely. No glue. No glue holding these two halves together, which I'm kind of relieved, because my problem has always been hurry up and put it together before the glue cures, that sort of thing. Then I end up with one of two things or both, an ill-fitting two halves and or fingerprints all over it. So to make sure that nobody steals my work, that sort of thing. Yeah, I got together and put the grill in, and let's see, is there going to be enough light to focus in on? Let's turn it up a little bit. So I just want to show you inside. A little sloppy paint job, but that was intentional, trust me. These are, what you're seeing is the resin parts that I made, and they're not inside a compartment like the original. The original looks like this, and it has a kind of a compartment, a U-shaped compartment there that they would fit in. This all looks very pretty and everything. It would have looked nice if I was able to use this. But I don't have it in a compartment like that. I kind of set it a little further back, and in the model, there's these like legs that stick up that actually hold this into place. And I actually hot glued my resin parts on top of those little legs. And it turns out that it is even, both top and bottom. I got light leaks all the way around because I backlit it with blue. So I'm going to turn on the power for this sucker, and you're going to put on your eclipse glasses, please. You're going to burn some retina here.
At least you didn't point it straight at us. Whoa! And
I'm going to fade it down a little bit. But in person, if you're looking in there, you could see the blue strip lights back behind that. And it has this really cool 3-dimension to it when you look at it briefly. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for any length of time. Let's see if I can tone this down a little bit here. I think it's still a little too bright.
It's still pretty bright. It's blowing out the camera still. Yeah.
I think I need to go down to further. Boy. There we go. Oh, there we go. The light strips you can't see, but right there at the bottom, you can see the white and the LEDs. They're not lit because there's only 3 volts going through this right now. So that's what I wanted from what I can tell at full power. What I wanted was a white light when looking at it, but I wanted to have the hint of blue and not make it a blue light on this particular engine. So I feel like I finally succeeded after all that work. And I'm going to take a camera tour around because it'd be just easier to pick up the camera. I got the mandible headlights. and of course the cockpit.
Sweet.
Very nice there.
The cockpit does have some panel lights on there.
Looking good there, Jack.
Thank you, sir. And I did find the clear parts. The clear parts look pretty clear. I mean, they look like glass. I might be able to put them on without any little distortion. If that's the case, then maybe I will use the clear parts. But certainly, all that agony I went through to get the effect I wanted surely paid off. And for all of you who are curious, at 9 volts, let's get to 9 volts. It is drawing 1.09 amps. That would be, that's what, 78 in the engines. I think about 4 in the cockpit, and you got the 2 in the mandibles in the front.
You're gonna need a 2 amp brick for it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely going to need at least a 2 amp for this. Soon enough, this my volt thing is going to start puffing away with a fan. But this does carry some heat. I think there's a lot of space around it for the heat to dissipate, so I can probably keep it on for maybe 5 minutes at a time. So I'm really excited. All I got to do is find those screws and put it 2 halves together, and finalize some of like the radio dish. Oh my gosh, what's with this? The radio dish, well, the dish, and the cockpit, and the gun turrets, that sort of thing. I thought I'd lighten the gun turrets, but I decided against it. I think there's enough in this. Pulling on 1 amp, just over 1 amp. So I think I'm pretty good. I'm really thrilled. I'm really excited that I actually got some things done. And I have my stand. I showed that yesterday on Across the Pond. So that's the next step, is get that thing into order. And I gotta buy a couple of switches, because I actually have the burners on a separate circuit than the backlit part and the cockpit. Those are on a separate circuit. So I'm going to have 2 switches. I'm going to be able to switch off the burners just so they don't overheat and get too hot. Because they do. It's really weird. I talked to Jim about it, and it's really the return, the neutral, that seems to get hot. And he explained why. So why is that?
Well,
why is that? There's more resistance in the neutral than there is in the...
Well, it's just because it's that plated wire, and there is physically some resistance in the wire, and so the current at the bottom where it leaves is actually higher. It's microamps, but it's still higher at the bottom than at the top. So that's why it warms up at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I don't know what's wrong with my camera here. That's crazy. Well, all right. I'll really take your word for it. I don't, because when I saw that, I'm like, well, gee, this is going to have to be on separate circuits. But there is something I do want to show, that this is the first time, the thing I've always had issue with, and it's always came with like Star Trek, models, and any models that have 2 major halves that you put together, and they both would make more, like the mandible is on the top half and the engine burners are on the bottom half. And so I needed to find something that'd be like a quick connect between them. And I was unable to find on eBay these things. These are male and female plugs for the what do you call it? The battery to a handset on a phone, a cordless phone. And this actually has 3 leads. So it worked out perfectly. If you need multiple ones, because you want different circuits, like if you have circuits on a Arduino or circuit board that blinks, you can do multiple of these, and you can do a male on one half, female on the other half. When you put the 2 halves together, you plug them together and you flip over the halves, and
yeah, well, it's easy enough to find edge connectors if you're doing it for an Arduino on a board where you need multiple connectors. They're easy enough to get the shove-on connectors for those anyway.
Oh yeah,
and they're cheap enough.
These were pretty cheap. I think a whole bundle of these. I mean, I got plenty of here. I got picked up for a couple bucks, $2 or $3 with shipping. They were really cheap. So you can get them on eBay, because I was trying to figure a way of doing it in that manner. And today I got to use it for the first time, and it was slicker than snot. I tell you, it's really cool to do that. And I'm actually going to put another one at the base of the model and the model itself, so that I can disconnect the model from the base. Because I promised a couple of people at work that when I get this done, I'm going to take it to work, and the supervisors can fight over it, because there's 2 supervisors who are big Star Wars fans. So whose desk is it going to be at for a short time? But yeah, I'm really excited I got to this point. Like I said, this is at this stage of the game, I really thought it would be during the 48-hour hangout. So I'm at least 2 months behind on this. And I'm really looking forward to get done because of our community builds. And I think the first one I might embark on is the wood build. And I'm going to leave it up to Jim to show us some tools.
Okay. Now we'll get started. And that showing it depends upon what type of kit. Well, a lot of it doesn't matter what kind of kit you're going to start with the wood build. You know, whether it's a balsa kit, which is fairly soft wood, or get a little more industrious and then going into a full wood kit. It's a ship build of some sort, or whatever type of model you pick on. There's all different kinds out there. But a lot of the tools are similar for both. And there's some things that are different for each other, too. Nice to have, as a standard, a good X-Acto blade, number 11 blade, and also, as opposed to being different on your plastic models, make sure wood will wear a blade down, as the same as with my paper model, fairly quickly. So make sure you got a good supply of blades. And another good tool that's good to have, which some of you may already have, is a chopper to get for chopping your wood lengths, your wood strips to length, and on angle. So the chopper is a good investment. There's quite different ones out there. There's even a handheld ones you can get. So for that part, as well as you might have, is a good miter box and saw and razor saw. Another type of saw, like this one's nice because it's got an edge on it, so it will go up to the edge of your desk and hold it and not fall over. This is the Revel one, I think, but it's handy. Another type of saw that will be handy for this is a fret saw, either a hand fret saw, or a powered fret saw if you're willing to invest in that at some future date if you continue on with hobby, unless you got other hobbies to do that does also have a fret saw. But a hand one will work fine, because if you have to cut curves and that in the wood, it's easier to do it with a fret saw than trying to do it with a knife. The other thing that's really necessary when you're doing wood build are good scales, good metal scales. So you need a good heavy one. It's like a 15-inch scale and a good 6-inch scale. You know, this was marked inch and metric. This is also inch and metric. So whichever format you prefer to use.
Mm-hmm.
And something else you probably have if you do any woodworking at all, or even some sheet metal work. You're going to need a center punch or a punch of some site and an awl. A good sharp awl.
Why would you
You're
need
going to have
that?
to mark something on the wood for holes or something like that for pre-drilling.
Oh,
Another tool they may not was probably used more on the balsa side than on the hardwood is a strip cutter. This is a tool I don't know if many have ever seen, but it's a strip cutter where it allows you to adjust this blade, and then you can cut a wood strip of a predefined width.
cool.
Just using your knife. So you just run your knife into here and run it down the wood, and it'll mark and cut your strip at a predefined width.
Oh, that is really cool.
Very clever.
These have been around for years. I've had this one for about.
You could use something like that to make plastic strips as well.
You can do it in plastic. I've used it with plastic too. These have been around for about 40 some odd years. You can still buy them. So, yeah, that's a very handy tool.
Sure beats the hell out of trying to hold a metal rule with one hand and cutting it with cutting the strip with your X-Acto and the other.
Because all you can do is
that keeps it straight.
Yeah, because all you can do is undo the thumb screws and just adjust this to whatever width you require.
And there's already lines there to help you out with the calibration of the thickness. Right on the underside, you've got those lines you can match up with. Yep. Are they 1/8 inch distant from each other?
Yep, they're equal distance. They're about I think. They're about 2 mils apart.
2 mils apart. It's not quite an eighth. That's a little more than an eighth, but that would be handy to have. I'm
but
really
it's
easy.
But it's easy enough once you know the width. This is another tool that you probably should have. Is your set of calipers. So if you set up your calipers to whatever depth you want, it's easy enough to measure on here your center line, from the center line across to use your calipers and to adjust your center line across to whatever width you require. So, doing it.
A strip cutter, was it you called it?
Yeah.
Just
If you look at your X-Acto tool.
I don't think I'm pretty well familiar with Hobby Lobby's inventory when it comes to scale models, which isn't that extensive.
Yeah.
They've got like an entire aisle of models, and on the other side of that aisle, they got stuff, but nothing like that. Certainly no balsa, from what I can gather. I know Michael's has balsa. They might have some. We're looking for that on eBay.
Another handy tool to have is a good mechanical pencil. 0.5 or 0.7 with not too hard a lead, but a soft lead, because you can mark onto the wood and it can be removed with an eraser. And that's, you're not going to leave a permanent mark on it, but you can mark onto your wood easy enough with the pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
now
pardon?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. and also for measuring, either on the model when you're trying to find the width, there's not a pieces, is a good set of calipers.
Uh-huh.
A good set of mechanical calipers are going to be ultimate. These can vary in price. I mean, you can pay us a lot or not as much, but you can probably get some at Harbor Freight or whatever, and that for a couple bucks are not that expensive. But a good set of calipers, you can't do much without them. You're going to need them.
Right. I got dividers, but they separate too easy.
Oh, you probably just got the conventional straight
convention
mechanical
divider.
ones.
Yeah. Yours has the screw adjuster, which holds it really firmly into place.
Yeah.
What I have I don't have that. It's just a divider.
Yeah, no, I have the straight
Freight,
ones too. I find that they're
has them
all
in
time
a
moving
set.
on me, so I find that the screw ones are a lot more stable and repeatable.
It's somewhere around. I'm not.
Okay.
Tweezers too. When you think you need tweezers too?
Oh, you're going to need tweezers, all different sizes, and also forceps.
Oh, really?
Forceps are valuable.
So yeah.
And clamps. Now, this is the thing. You're going to need. Well, you can have small spring clamps, or these just hair clips, but the work project you're going to need small clamps and larger clamps. I prefer a bar clamp because you got to watch with your spring if you're using spring clamps because you're working with soft wood. You put a spring clamp on it, you're going to leave a mark. So if you're using a clamp where you can adjust the tension on it, you got less chance of damaging the work you're working on rather than leaving a mark behind. So a clamp that's got adjustable tension is a lot preferred as opposed to a spring clamp.
Mm-hmm. Those can be the bar clamps could be pretty pricey though.
Well, it depends. See, I seen, I think it was at Home Depot, and I seen a set of 3 for $10 or something there a little while ago. So
that's small?
Yeah. Same size as this, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So you get and pins.
Pins.
T-pins and ball pins. Small diameter ball pins and T-pins. Because you're going to need that to hold pieces in place while they're even gluing or even while you're fitting. So you're going to need that. You're also, especially with the balsa kit, because the balsa kit, you have to lay out. So like now for a balsa kit, you'll need a building board to lay the kit out on. So your best ideal is a cheap acoustic tile, something that'll take pins easy. Then you lay the plans out on the acoustic tile, then cover the plans with wax paper, and then use thumbtacks and thumbtack it down into the acoustic tile. And then you you cut your pieces you build it on top of the plans. So then you use your pins to hold it in place while you're laying it out and gluing it. Because you need something flat and stable.
George is saying that you could use rubber bands and spring-type clothespins too.
Yeah, as long as the clothespins are not too strong. As long as the springs are not too strong.
I think he's talking about like doing like this kind of a thing. Get it in there.
Yeah.
And that'll work.
But okay. Yeah.
With the elastic band on it, it really does clamp down tight. But whenever I use just without the clamp on it, it's better. But I always cut the ends off.
Yeah.
Because it just lets it, it can get it to clamp exactly where you want it instead of, a quarter of an inch back.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Well, you
But
wouldn't have a,
with balsa, that would be a little hard on the wood, I think.
yeah, well, that's wood on wood, but of course, balsa wood will be softer than clothespins.
Pins are made of pine.
Yeah.
Well, in the realm of woods, it's considered soft, but much certainly harder than balsa. I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking of doing my build out of basswood. What would the difference be between the basswood and balsa?
Basswood's a lot harder wood compared to balsa.
Yeah, it's a lot more like pine.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
more like pine, except for it's got a narrower grain.
Yeah,
A
A lot
narrower
finer
what?
grain. Finer grain.
A finer
that's
grain.
why wood carvers.
How would you how would you bend? I've seen balsas and basswoods bend around
There's
contours.
there's different ways of bending, depending upon what how much of a bend you require. Bending techniques, there's different ones. If it's a sheet, let's say you're fitting it around a sheet, you can do things like spray water on the inside, not on the outside, but on the inside of the balsa. Not so it soaks through, but just so it's damp. And that'll allow the balsa to start to bend, and then you can start shaping it across. So you got water techniques. If it's a thicker bit of wood, then you can do soaking water or steam. You can use warm, hot water and steam to bend your pieces. So you can put a small kettle on your bench, and work across with the water, the steam to help bend the wood.
Okay. Okay. I've often wondered about that.
And just about everybody's got a kettle, so I mean you can do that. You don't have to buy a special kettle for it. Everyone's got a
Oh yeah, you
kettle
can
for
get
making
one of
coffee.
those 1 or 2 cup coffee kettles. Actually,
Yeah, you can get those small little ones at the grocery store or wherever. That they're not expensive anyway.
yeah.
Now,
You have any, are you going to be bending on your build, the one that you showed on the lifeboat?
the lifeboat
Is
will
there any
have a little bit of bending. There's a bit of bending, but not a lot. There's not a lot of bending on that. If somebody, I can probably get a lot of it done with just the light spray water can probably do a lot of the bending with that. There's no real drastic bending on it, so it should be pretty straightforward. So it shouldn't be too bad. A lot of it was a straight run with a small bound of bending around the bow. The keel is pretty well straight off the stern, so the stern is a box stern off the back. So it's pretty well straight off the side. So there's not a lot of bending to be done. It's very minor.
So George, George said steam, and like he's done this before. Have you? That's a question I'll put to George. Have you done any wood builds? And that goes for you, Ken. Ken Skipperthing showed up as well. Ken, have you ever done a wood build? We see you doing amazing things with styrene. Can you do this?
I haven't done a wood ship build, but I designed and built RC balsa wood airplanes for
airplanes.
20 some odd years. So I mean, I built all kinds of aircraft, wooden aircraft.
Yep. George says he's done wood builds too. So he said steam in a very authoritative way. So I figured he did.
Jack, I can give you a way to.
What's that?
I can give you a way to do really, really tight bends on wood as thick as a popsicle stick.
Yeah.
And that is using soldering.
With a solder gun.
You could take if you took that popsicle stick and got it wet on each side.
Yeah, you can use the heat.
And had your soldering
iron.
iron clamped to like a vise. You could just grab it like this, and moving back and forth, you could bend it into a complete U.
Yeah, you can use the soldering iron or a small heat gun.
Yeah,
a small heat gun like this.
A heat gun, that'll work. Using the heat, because what that does, it's another method of using steam. It's sending steam right into the wood, and it makes it surprisingly
Soft.
It makes the
surprisingly
fibers pliable. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
All
Then
right.
then we get back. Then you got your other thing is now into drilling. So you're going to need a pin vise, which everyone pretty much has a pin vise anyways.
Yeah.
Somewhat tight. You know, a pin vise and your Dremel. And that for most of this will handle most of the wood drill Dremel for your light drilling. I'll get into some of the other heavy tools after when I get done with the hand tools here. For shape, then you're going to get into shaping. Now it comes into things like a small plane. You can either spend the money for a violin plane, or this is the X-Acto one, but it works fine. I've had this one for quite a few years. A small miniature plane.
Here's an example of a violin plane.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea, where is it? Come on.
Hold that up again. I just clicked onto your image there, Jay. What's that violin plane look like?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, the small little brass planes. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
they're I use them to make violins, so you know it's I happen to have some, but they are pricey, but boy are they nice. I think you could easily get by for most of your woodwork though with like what
The small
what
miniature
James
hobby
just showed.
plane. Yeah.
Yeah, hobby planes and such. So,
yeah, these are only like about $15 or $20, or you can get a more professional one from like Lee Valley for about $35. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of blades do they take? They have special blades for them?
they have their own blade. You have to strop it every so often. It's got its own blade.
Okay.
Just like a plane. It's got its own separate blade.
Mm-hmm.
Another tool is handy, and this is a spoke shave or a draw plane.
Spoke shave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. You really got the toys there, don't you?
I remember using that in woodwork class, or a slightly larger version of it.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the piece I finished up with didn't look anything like the piece the
original.
Yeah, the teacher wanted me to make.
Yeah.
I think I got a bit of over enthusiastic.
Then we get into sanding, and you're going to need, of course, sandpaper, sanding blocks, preferably a small one, like a small one, as well as you can use your standard, your sanding sponges and that too. So.
I did a little bit of experimentation with sanding sticks. I couldn't bear spending as much money as what it counts for, and I have them somewhere here. I got to make new ones though. I've been making my own sanding sticks out of popsicles, and just basically gluing the sandpaper on the popsicle stick.
On the popsicle sticks, yeah.
And I had some that had two sides to it. I used. Oh, heck, I think I used Elmer's glue. It doesn't stick too well. I don't know, because there's some kind of coating on the back of the sandpaper that's keeping that from happening. But I just had some inspiration with the Gorilla CA glue, because it comes with gel formulation.
Mm-hmm.
That would certainly work.
That's another thing. We get into glues now.
Yeah.
Then we get into, you can go down, it's carpenter's glue, which has good adhesion. The only problem you got to be careful of it is that it can stain the wood, but you have to be careful. But it's a good glue for gluing the wood pieces on. Just be careful and don't overuse it. Or you can go to your craft PVA glues, like your super tacky, the white super tacky, or the clear glue, so you can use those on there too, as well as your good old the
gel formula would be better for wood Yeah. Although the regular CA is pretty thick, the gel is very much gel. I mean that certainly would work.
Yeah, with wood you got to make sure it's something that goes into the wood and not just stays on top of it. It has to go into the wood in order to give a good bond. So it has to be
Well, I'm
absorbed
saying
into
if
the
it's too
wood.
thin, the wood would drink it up. Is my point.
Yeah,
If it's too thick,
but something like
if it's
school
too
glue, like your white school
Yeah.
glue, is too watery. It's too watery. It's
Yeah.
too water based, and he'll have all kinds of issues not dealing with that. You'll get warpage in that from using that. So that's the warning on that. Now we can get over to some other things. Now, if you're starting to want to expand on this and going farther, there's different other power tools. Like you can go to.
Oh
You
my
can go like
goodness!
Wow.
this happens to be this. This is an 8. This one's an 8-in-1 machine tool. You don't need this, but it's handy because this one gives me the ability to create a lathe and a milling machine and a bunch of other different tools. So it's handy.
Actually, I shouldn't laugh too much because I was considering buying a scroll saw.
Yeah.
They're nice.
But the ones that I've been like, the smallest one I think has a 18 or 19-inch throat. That would be a little too much, I think, for doing hobby type things. But go ahead, just continue.
Yeah. And the next thing, a small drill press of some sort is very, very handy.
Yeah, that's another thing I was looking
one
at.
that converts a Dremel tool to a drill press, but a small drill press is very, very handy. And it's also used for different things. Like you can put a sanding disc on the bottom and use it as a drum sander and use that. And so there's lots of different purposes for using a small drill press. This is a little more elaborate.
You got that drill press separate from the Dremel makes drill presses attachments to the Dremels, but what you got is a lot fancier actually.
It's a lot more secure and precision than the standard. I didn't really like the Dremel one.
Yeah, okay.
So the Dremel one, I find I thought it was worth the money getting the more precision because I wanted something I could do some light milling in that with too. So I see what I was aiming for. Because the T vise that's on the bottom is a separate item that I ordered for it. So that.
How much did that send you back for that stand? You got that about a year ago.
Yeah, I got that last year. It's about I think it's only like $40 for the drill press, and it was like $29 for the T rack.
Oh,
so it's not that bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. Particularly if you're
considering the Dremel one is like $100, $150 for the Dremel one. It's ridiculous in the price, and it's not that good.
Yeah.
Then we can go to something.
How do you feel about scroll saws, though? I mean,
pardon?
Scroll saws. How do you feel about them?
Scroll saws? Well, scroll saws are fine. They're really handy in that. I mean, I have one. I don't have it here. It's at my sister's place because I got no room to store it. Unless I need it, I can always go get it. I've got a King myself, but you can buy any other ones that you want. As far as mechanical scroll saws concerned, they're good and they're handy.
Mm-hmm.
You want one that's going to be able to take both the both type of scroll saw blades, because some scroll saw blades are clip in, and the other ones are clamp. So you got to make sure the scroll saw you get will take either type. That's the one thing you got to look out for with scroll saw, because some only take the clip in. And but those are the ones that'll take the clamp. Will usually always also take the clip in. So
Yeah.
So that.
George also says don't use Gorilla Glue because it puffs up when it dries. I think Gorilla Glue would be over the top, quite frankly, George. I agree for a model build, but the CA Gorilla CA glue is awesome. You guys sold me on that, and now I'm a
convert.
devout disciple of Gorilla CA glue. So.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yeah.
But the regular Gorilla Glue, you're right. It's not the best for this kind of thing.
Yeah. Then we get into, if you're willing to get into for cutting a lot of your pipe, you should get into a. Some of you have probably seen this before. A small table saw.
That certainly is pretty intense there, mister.
Yeah, but you don't have to pay as much as you don't have to prox on one, but you can get small miniature table saws for as much as $35. So I mean, that for a hobby purpose will do just fine. And if you got your own table saw at home, you can do that. You can do that, or you can convert a tile cutting saw.
Well, you know something. I think there's something needs to be said about these tools, though. I mean, like Ken and I did one like a long time ago when I was in junior high. I think I was given that as Christmas gift. It was an airplane that was rubber band powered, I guess.
Yeah.
And it had the tissue paper that you use watered down white glue to make it tight. For the fuselage covering, and it looked really cool once it was all done. It glided rather nicely, but it didn't really fly because rubber bands lose their power like within a couple rotations. And long and short of it, that would have been my first wood build if I remember correctly. But like what I'm getting at is when I got back into the hobby, going on 5 years now. I did buy a lot of stuff all at one time because I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think primarily like the knife, the hobby knife I needed. I need a set of files, like these sorts of little files, sandpaper, of course the glue, some paints, etc. And the airbrush came along with it. Because there's some things that you sort of do need right off the bat. Yeah. And as you said, there are some things we already have as plastic modelers, maybe not as wood modelers. Wood is a little different in some of the tools. But I think it's important to say, don't go out and buy all this stuff.
No, you don't have to buy all this stuff. It can come with time. The basic hand tools is basically all you need.
Right. If you evolve into a wood builder, like somebody who does the Spanish galleons, has spent a couple of years doing the Spanish galleons and stuff, maybe perhaps you would invest in some of the power tools and the like. But really, I think, though, minimally speaking, you really don't need all that stuff. But it is nice to have if you're very much into the wood building thing and so on. And I think George thinks you're showing off too with all those tools.
I was trying to give a description of the expansive tools from what you basic need until what ifs type thing.
Right. You put men and power tools together, and all of a sudden things change.
Yeah.
Well, while you gentlemen were talking, I was able to finish my Poe Dameron X-Wing decals.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very cool. Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. We're talking power tools, and it's Super Bowl night, but I think we all can agree. Canadians and you folks in Northern Ireland don't even really would care about it, but I think in Australia,
I care about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I really don't care because I don't know if I told this on the air last night or yesterday at Across the Pond. I had a customer call me, and she was At first, I didn't like her because she was like 100 miles a minute. She was probably going to beat Han Solo in the Kessel Run. The way she was talking. She was from Philadelphia. She was a career housewife mother, so she had to get everything out as quickly as possible. It was a long call. It was a very fruitful call. In the end, I really liked talking to her. She was actually right on target with a lot of stuff, and and she was enthusiastic too. And in the end, she asks me, am I a Philadelphia fan or a New England fan? And there was this heavy pause, and I said, I'm in Pittsburgh. What do you think? Our entire city has debated on talk radio who they are cheering for the loser to lose. And it's a really hard choice to make.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, if you ask me, you know what? I'd be very pleased whoever loses this game. Let's put it that way. I will like that team better if they lose in the Super Bowl. Anyway, that's my Super Bowl thing. And also, I kind of did a little dabbling around on eBay or Scary Bay, Evil Bay. Let's see. And I just come up with a page. These are, of course, airplanes. The Gillows brand, which is pretty big in the wood builds. And as you could see, just in this particular screen here, you're talking about a really wide range of prices.
Yeah.
Really wide range. $20. Actually, that Liberator. I want to build a Liberator, whether it be a plastic kit.
That's a big kit.
It's actually from what I been reading about it. You put electric motors in it, can easily be RC.
Yeah, I think that's 46 inches wide or something like that.
I don't think I want to get that large. I do want to build maybe an airplane, maybe not a boat, but an airplane for sure, of wood. But what I liked about this Liberator is that it takes me back when I built that airplane. It was it had a pretty decent wingspan, maybe 36 inches.
Yeah.
But it's just the skeleton is what I like about this.
Oh, the framework? Yeah.
The framework. It's just it looks like a lot of fun just to look at, but probably a real bitch to dust. But I don't know if I want to spend $100. I mean, some of them are like $115. This is actually one of the cheaper ones. But maybe
Jack, you can get.
Go ahead.
You can get a clear plastic. You can get a clear plastic that shrinks down that you can go over the model with, so that you can still see that. You can still see all of the framework, but it does fly.
Yeah, the monocoat. Yeah.
I know some people that have done
$120. Probably a big. This looks like a big box here.
Yeah.
But if you were, let's cut this out and search. So I'm just doing eBay because I can just come up with a whole bunch of different examples of what you could spend and or not spend. This is probably going to be my thing right here. A Hellcat at $17. Maybe throw that together because I probably want to do an easy one just to figure on getting kind of used to the different things you've got to pay attention to before I get into something that I really do want to build. But I do want to build an airplane. And George said Maxi, or actually MAXFLIART on YouTube. Max Flyart? Oh, Max Flyart. Interesting. He says that some amazing rubber band powered flight videos there. actually on the RC channel that I like to watch, they did about a year ago. They did a video on, it wasn't RC flight, but these airplanes looked extremely delicate. Just as delicate as a butterfly's wings, and these things just floated through the air. You can only fly them indoors. And I think the world's record of flying these things is a couple hours on rubber band. And just to think that it conserves that much power and energy that it could fly for that long.
Yeah.
It's like a thing. It's like a thing. Yeah, rubber band flying is a thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I used to do some rubber band flying and that with the larger aircraft, and we used timers on them to, after a while, to time it so it would reset the rudder and elevator so it would bring it back, type thing. Free flight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this, I think we should be all familiar at a certain age. We went to the hardware store, and they used to have these at the hardware store. These are like gliders that consisted of like 4 pieces, and then you can shoot them off maybe with a rubber band and like a paper airplane, and they'll glide around for you. Yeah, so there's a lot here that you can consider doing. This is just in airplanes. Of course, there's a lot of boats too.
I can show you a site. I can show you a boat site.
Yeah, let's see what the boat site looks like.
I was just saying, there was a Spirit of St. Louis there that sort of got my interest, because the first model kit I ever built was of the Spirit of St. Louis. So maybe that might be my first wooden build. Yeah. You never know.
This site's a really good one. It's called Ages of Sail. They not only have boat kits, but they have all different other kinds of wood kits in there, of all different price ranges.
Difficulty and there's a Chinese junk there.
There's Chinese junk. Some
yeah,
of the feature
cool
stuff.
Oh, river boats. We have that one member who does scratch building on boats. Usually, river boats. He does a lot of river boats. Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, they have that and tools and.
Well, if you're wanting to do the community builds, who is to say
here you can build?
You can combine a wooden boat and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, called 2 builds in 1.
Yeah. There's architecture kits too.
I think Randall said he was going to try to combine all 3: wood, naval, and real space together. I'm not sure I'm going to do that, mister.
I don't remember saying anything about real space wood models.
Other than my naval build, if this was of wood, I can get away with all 3. Look at that! If it was a wood build, but this is a plastic build.
Yeah, I mean the kits in here are going to range from they're going to range from $35 up, all depending upon the skill level of the ship.
Yeah, well, $35 to begin with. If you're a beginner, that's not so much.
Well, that's like this one here, the one here, this lifeboat that I'm building. It's $69. It's $69. It's the same price on the ship as what I paid for it. So I mean, no, I actually got that from this one from my local hobby shop. It was the same price as online, so I didn't see any purpose in ordering it. I was thinking of ordering it, and then my local hobby shop had it for the same price, so I figured, well, that's going to save me price on shipping. So,
right.
But there's all kinds. They've even got. When you try to find, it's whatever you like.
So, Randall, you've gone to these competitions. You're the one here that's gone to the most competitions. Is there a segment for wood builds or ship builds like this?
Not so much wood. No, it's most of the shows I've gone to are IPMS, International Plastic Modeling Society. There may be some wood involved in maybe conversions or something like that. Like the old days, they used to use balsa wood for converting fuselages and stuff like that. But very, very, very rarely do I see any wood ships. Well, no, yeah, there was one competition where I saw somebody had a scratch-built large-scale Titanic, which I think probably had a lot of wood in it. But I never actually got talking. I never actually got talking to the builder, so I didn't really find out whether how much of it was plastic or wood, or plastic over a wood frame. So
okay, but do you know of any shows or competitions that are more favorable to the wood builds? Is there such a thing?
None that I've come across. Not this side of the pond, anyway.
Yeah, not unless you belong to a model ship society. And I know there's some. I don't know about England, but I know there's some in Europe. But not a lot of competition in that for the wood models. Not as much as it used to be.
Those wood ships do take a long time to build. They
Some of them can take years.
I know my local hobby store has a couple of wood ship models in the on the shelves, but they've been there for years. Nobody's even so much as moved them on the shelf, let alone actually buy them. Unless somebody's buying them, they put the same. Yeah.
Not only the expense, but the amount of time the time investment will be an immense time investment. But yeah. I don't know. You said that you encountered somebody that did a ship build of sorts, and he said something to the effect that it took him a long time, and yet it took him less than a year to do, or something. I don't know. I think it was you who said that. I guess not. Maybe
somebody was, somebody was saying had one at one of the shows that they went to.
Oh, that was Lou.
That was Lou DeMasso? Yeah.
I think it was Lou. Yeah. I think Lou said that. He was saying that there was a wood builder there. Oh, no, again, I don't know if it was Lou. He said there was a wood builder there, and he had put up like a couple of wooden ships, rather decent, scales.
Yeah.
Like something like the Victory or something, the HMS Victory or something in this regard. I think one of them, if I remember right, the one picture he took was a Revolutionary War, American Revolution, British warship with the multitude of cannons on the side of the of the boat, of the ship. And he complained. He complained that it took him a long time to do, or something like that. And the level of sophistication was immense. Well, then again, like myself, I dawdle through the builds, and there are folks that just sneeze, like Ken Skivington, and he's got the build already together. So it's interesting to see the different. The modelers have a different speed at which they do things, and a different level of detail. And people like Tony, who thinks he's crap, but he's actually really good. But again, if he knew he was really good, he might be full of himself more than he already is. He's got to turn his mic on now. No, he's not going to turn his mic on. He's not going to give me that satisfaction. Okay, cool. But no, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. I was thinking of doing a scratch build from wood, but you know what? I have absolutely no experience in a wood build, so I think it'd be best if I bought a simple kit and got my feet wet first before I jump in into something that I have in mind. But with that being said, though, there's also architectural wood builds too, such as architectural homes. Usually, you can even get kits like even doll houses. If it's
doll houses, there's castles, there's churches, and cathedrals.
There's
of stuff.
You don't have to stick with the boats. You don't have to stick with the airplanes. There is a lot out there when it comes to wood, and if you've got some wood ability, you can probably scratch build something together and make it look good. And you know, an HO scale. I watched some model railroading. They do have kits of buildings that one can do. And from what I've seen demonstrated, they're really expensive for what they really are. It's really crazy.
You can buy buildings, wood buildings, and that for model railroad, but man, they charge an arm and a leg for them.
It's like four panels and a roof, and then they have the shingles all separate. They have like window frames and shutters or whatever else, but they're horribly expensive. I think one thing I watch the Scale Model magazine. He comes out every month of What's Neat. I don't remember his name, but he did one on a building and how easy it was, because it was a new manufacturer of these buildings that was coming onto the scene, and he built one, and it did look pretty easy, but it wasn't. It didn't have the different floors inside it. It didn't have
just a shell.
It was just a shell. It was just simply a shell for show. But a lot of these architectural buildings would have interiors as well. I've seen, you can see these videos on YouTube. There's plenty of them. But you can do bridges, or if you want to do like, there's even a kit I found that is the Eiffel Tower. Forget it, I'm not doing that. But certainly, their structural would be something of interest to me anyway. Eiffel Tower sounds like a lot of fun, but certainly not the level I am, who's never had any experience. But Ken, yes, Ken Skiffington, you should do a scratch build. Yes, I should, but not of wood. I'm going to get my feet wet first. Because quite frankly, I have no idea what it entails. But I can't wait to get this Falcon done, so I can get onto those. All right, then. That's wood builds for tonight, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, Jim, for all of those tools that you showed us, and all the, like I said, power tools. I think we have to go now in the other room and just change our shorts. Because like I said, you put guys with power tools and it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's just Joe McCaslin showed up. Not many would actually participate, I'm afraid, in scratch building or wood builds, whichever, Joe. I don't think many are, but that's why it's out there, and that's why I'm going to take on a challenge. I figure
it's all about stretching your skills. That's
exactly right, Jim. That's exactly right. This is the first year we haven't had the out of your comfort zone, so I figured I think of something that is out of everybody I know's comfort zone, which is a wood build. So I think that would be listed as such. I hope you all would do something. Oh, a scratch build. Not many would actually participate in a scratch build. Okay, that does certainly take a different a different level of skill. In fact, when I scratch build, I'm going to cheat and do 3D drafting since I learned it and I'm all excited about it, and I just want to expand myself on that and not buy the material and screw up. I'd rather get the no, seriously. I just can't. I cannot afford to buy more stuff. And I think if I were able to do a 3D drafting build like I did with the Daedalus, now it's just a matter of getting a 3D printer and printing it and seeing how good I am. I would be willing to go that far with materials, but certainly not with wood because balsa wood could be pretty expensive. I mean, you really have to shop around for that. So anyway, isn't that? How about you, Jim? Is it kind of pricey there in Canada?
Well, it's not too bad. I mean, what was this kit worth? I can't remember the price still on it. No, this was $19.
Oh,
so
yes.
That's not expensive.
That's probably what I'd do. That'd be my speed then. Maybe I should do that. That's the what's the F105? Is that?
Yeah,
That's the F16. F16 or one of those what we call a block wood kit, which is basically you don't have to worry about all the planking and that as such because it's basically a block of wood. Then you build up on top of it. So there's a block wood kits too. They're a lot cheaper as far as the ship models are concerned.
And you also, if you're doing airplanes and boats, would I be so far off the mark that the parts and the making of the parts, cutting the, well, if you have to do scratch builds, of course you're making the parts. It isn't so different from actual shipbuilding or actual airplane building.
No, it's not that. Like even with the airplanes, you've got your bulkheads, which are either printed on plywood, thin plywood, or thicker balsa wood, or they're laser cut, in which case you just got to punch them out. So you got that way. So you've got your bulkheads and your heavy structures, and then you lay your superstructure on top of that bulkhead. So that's the same with your ribs and your airplane.
Not so much not the prices would be an issue. It's a level of difficulty, or at least the perceived level of difficulty. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll be that guinea pig because, like I said, I'm willing to delve into something. Well, hell, I'm doing this Falcon. I didn't think it was going to be this hard. Well, it's this hard because I just don't have any time. But anyway, I'll be that guinea pig because I like I said, I know very little, and I'm certainly not going to go out and buy all the tools, but it's nice to know they exist. The one that got me excited was that one that you can cut strips, because I can see a styrene.
This thing is, especially in the balsa builds, this thing is paramount, because I don't remember what happens, but to buy the strip stock gets expensive, but it's large. If you can buy the wider stock is cheaper, and then cut your own strips. Saves a lot of money.
Yeah, you would. And that's what I got excited about, because I wouldn't have to buy so much material. I can just buy that, and it would certainly substitute for all the needs I need. Yeah, so anyway, that's it. I have nothing else. Do any of you fellows have any more?
The silence is deadening.
Yeah.
I guess. And
no other questions out there in the YouTube land?
No, it's been Joe, Ken, and George so far making comments on the live chat.
Yeah.
But Jay, I got to take notice. This is the first time you lasted an entire show, which has been an hour.
Well, it's the first time my internet's been working properly, so.
Hour and 40 minutes. That's quite amazing for you, Jay.
I do try, and then I catch my breath and I try again. So.
Oh, that's what Deanne says to you all the time, isn't it? Never mind.
How are you getting on with the Discovery build, Jay?
That's what I'm working on right now. I've been working on it. Oh boy, I've been working on it. Probably
A long
about
time.
the last 2 weeks. That's really all I've been working on is the Discovery.
Just to recognize
Trying to get this floor finished. I gotta touch up the floor here for the inside of the bay. And then the engine's done, and then I've got to seal that area back there up. I am obviously lighting it, but I'm lighting it a little differently. It does come with a long tube that goes through the center to give it some rigidity, and I'm using that tube, but I'm not running any wiring through it. It's got to be supported on each end anyway, and the only light up here in the front and in the engine, so I'm just running wires up to the bottom of the ball and up to the bottom of the engine, and running power in those two separate areas. No blinking lights, no nothing anywhere else on the thing.
Yeah, so, that makes it easy. I guess they would
certainly help.
I guess they wouldn't need nav lights, do they?
Well, you wouldn't think so, but the SpaceX Dragon has nav lights on it.
Yeah.
All the way to Mars.
By the way, that's supposed to be launching on Tuesday.
On Tuesday at 1:30 in the afternoon Eastern. Yeah.
It's the big one.
The
Falcon Heavy.
Yeah, Falcon Heavy. That was it. Yeah. Thing about the Discovery, X-ray Delta 1. The only time I ever saw the engines lit in that was in 2010.
Yeah, that is the only time they were lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I watched the test of the Falcon Heavy there last week, and
that was cool.
Last test, yeah.
But the Discovery, they didn't run the engines in 2001. They ran them in 2010, and of course that was a different model because the original Discovery model is long gone.
Yeah, they junked it.
I always
Kubrick junked.
Yeah, I always hate it when movie directors and such say, "Okay, destroy everything once we're done with the movie."
Yeah.
Sometimes destroy it, but in the case of both of the models of the Discovery, they did.
Kubrick was famous for that. He didn't want any of his models turning up in anybody else's movies.
Yeah. I guess that was from 2010. The does exist. It was sold at but the I don't think anything from the original Discovery. I could be wrong about that. I know that the what's left of the Space Station 5 is sitting in someone's field, rotting away. I believe the Orion, one of the Orion models, and one of the what was the one that landed on the moon
bus?
That they used?
The moon bus, yeah.
Not the moon bus, but the one that landed that took Floyd to the moon.
The moon shuttle, Ares 1B.
Yeah, that still exists. I've got some really nice pictures of that model. I think the moon bus does exist. I'm not completely sure, but I think it does. But the Discovery, no, that's because that's one of my probably 3 favorite spaceships of all time. So.
Yeah, it's been my grail model. I really hoped somebody would produce a model of Discovery, but just wish they didn't make it so expensive.
Yeah.
Pricey, but like I said before, I've wanted a model of the Discovery since 1968. So.
Well, you're in Nirvana. So you're going for the gusto all at one time there, getting that all built up right away.
Well, yeah, I want to get it done because otherwise I won't. I know me.
Yeah.
I would have brought the spine over to show you, but I hit it with some more primer and it's sticky, so I don't want to move it.
That's okay. Okay. I'm sure you're going to post pictures.
I will. I will definitely.
Okay, very good. So I'd like to thank our participants in the top chats, the live chat. George, thank you for stopping by. I'm glad you're doing well enough to work and to come by. And also Joe. Joe, thank you for stopping by, as well as Ken, making some comments there. We were able to bring them in the conversation about the wood builds. And of course, the biggest thanks goes to Jim for showing us all those tools. Thank you very much. Maybe
You're welcome.
Maybe in a couple of weeks you can maybe demonstrate that strip cutter. I would like to see that in action.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? Does that work for you?
That's possible. Yeah.
All right, very cool. And thanks, Jay, for stopping by and staying the whole hour and 45 minutes. I think that's a thumbs up, even though it looks like a thumbs down. And thanks, Randall, for stopping by. Go to bed. Your wife is waiting for you there. And also, Tony, it's been a while. But thank you for stopping by too, Tony. It looks like you're doing well. You got some good-looking haircut there, mister. Who are you trying to impress? See, he still won't put on. Oh, he did have his microphone on. Okay, good.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank everybody in the community and all the participants who are watching, who make comments, like the channel, and of course, subscribe to and all that YouTube stuff. And if this is the first time you're on YouTube and you're not joined up with us and you're a modeler, they were on Facebook as well as Google+. So join, post, and thank you for all your participations. And so far, Randall's got the first real space, and it looks like Dave just might have the first nautical coming up with his HMS Victory. Of course, it's plastic. It's not wood. But it's he says it's been a ride for him nonetheless. Yeah, otherwise, see you in 2 weeks on Saturday. That will be Across the Pond Hangout. And, of course, 2 weeks from today, that will be the Sunday Hangout. See you then. Until then, happy modeling.
Good day.
Take care.